How's it going, everybody? For today's beer review, we're going to be taking a look at Small Town Brewery's Not Your Father's Root Beer. So what we have here is a bit of a novelty beer for today's review. This is Not Your Father's Root Beer by Small Town Brewery. And they describe this simply as an ale with the taste of spices. Obviously, this is kind of like a dessert-style beer, or like, an experimental or novelty-style beer. It probably does not fall into any category. I've come to notice when you get to those kind of novelty beers, they usually fall into the category of an American brown ale. I don't know why, but that's what they always categorize them as. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's not what this is, or an herb and spice beer is what sometimes they'll call it. But anyway, let's see what kind of info we have here. Comes in at 5.9% ABV, which is decently high. And one thing I do want to mention is that this beer has different rarities, basically. There's like a lower ABV than this, I believe. I think this is the middle of the road. And then there's also a very rare version that I think gets up to like 10% alcohol by volume, which is very sought after. It's kind of like the bourbon barrel-aged version of a beer. That's the one that people, kind of strive to find, is the high ABV one. So, take it for what it's worth. If you can find it, I say get it, just because people look for it. Anyway, the information here. These guys are based out of, well, I'm trying to find any information on the bottle. I'm not seeing anything. It says beer with natural vanilla extract, other natural and artificial flavors, and caramel color. Up top it says Small Town Brewery makes specialty beers that utilize unique ingredients with an unmistakable taste of nostalgia. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I didn't really know what beer like this would call for, and so I'm going to go for this Nonic pint glass. I've always called it like a flared or bubbled pint glass, but now I know it's called a Nonic pint glass, so that's what we're going to refer to it as from now on. This Nonic pint glass is what we're going to be drinking this out of, so let's just get the cap off of here and see what this is all about. Alrighty, cap's off. The color, straight out of the bottle. Very dark mahogany brown. Let's see what kind of head potential this has. Very, very weak on the head potential. I poured that super aggressively, and it generated absolutely no head at all. In fact, it's already gone completely. Holding this one up into the light, this thing is actually very close to being pitch black, but it's that just few shades darker from black, dark mahogany brown, with some intense blood red tinges within it. So very dark reddish brown, almost to the point of being black. No head at all. Let's give it a smell. Now you guys may not believe me on this one, but believe it or not, this smells like root beer. That's it. I mean, that's it. It's root beer. This is root beer. I don't know that this is even a beer. This might just be like a malt beverage sort of thing. It's on Beer Advocate, though. I mean, there's really nothing more for me to tell you. If you've smelled root beer out of a can, that's what it smells like. Straight up. I'm not going to sit here and describe what root beer smells like. That's it. There's no hidden hops or malts or anything like that. It's just straight up root beer. That's exactly what it smells like. I mean, you take an A&W or a mug or whatever, what have you, and you pour that in a glass and put it side by side with this, and I promise you would not be able to tell a single difference between them. I can only imagine what it's going to taste like. Let's give it a taste. Very good. Wow, that's tasty stuff. Obviously, it tastes like root beer. Straight up like root beer soda. But there's a couple of subtle differences between this and regular root beer. First and foremost, the herbal essences of root beer are much more noticeable in this. It's a lot stronger on the savory side of what root beer is. There's almost some faint traces of bubble gum in a weird way. Perhaps like fennel or star anise, obviously with root beer, but a little stronger in this. Molasses, vanilla, almost as if they did a 50-50 mix of cream soda and root beer. Extremely sweet. You could probably give this to anyone and they wouldn't know it was an alcoholic beverage. But it's not cloyingly sweet, and that's what the big thing that's going to give this high marks for me is. They managed to do it and emulate the taste of a root beer, but get rid of that awful cloying sweetness that most sodas suffer from. It's like a more natural or a more high-end soda, like Jones Soda, or if you've ever been to BJ's where they brew their own soda in-house, this is kind of what I'm getting. It's not that over-the-top, artificial, just cloying sweetness and sugariness. It's more natural, more subtle, more drinkable, really. Hell of a dessert beer. I mean, that's totally what this is. This is root beer. Don't really know how to give this one a style rating because I don't really know what style it is, but I can give it an overall rating. I enjoyed it like crazy. It's really good. I guess it gets like a, just from the way it tastes alone, it gets like an A+. Like a 95 to a 98, somewhere in there. I mean, it tastes tasty. It tastes very tasty. So, my closing words for you are, if you don't like root beer, then don't buy this. I promise you there's no subtle differences. I mean, there are subtle differences, but there's no big differences. If you don't like root beer, you won't like this. If you enjoy root beer soda, you'll enjoy this beer. Anyway, that has been my review of Small Town Brewery's Not Your Father's Root Beer. Hope you guys enjoyed the beer review as always, and stay tuned for the next one.